things like fatigue, bloating, skin issues, brain fog, mood swings, like these can all be tied to inflammation. At the root, inflammation is always, always a message from your body. It's not just something that's happening.
Our body doesn't have these systems for just no reason. Inflammation's a horrible rap, but when it's functioning the way it should, it's actually very protective.
Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Wellness Effect. And today I'm super excited to take you guys down the inflammation rabbit hole. This is something that I believe genuinely is at the root of so much of what a lot of us feel every single day. Things like fatigue, bloating, skin issues, brain fog, mood swings, like these can all be tied to inflammation. So I'm really excited to just kind of go through this episode. We're going to talk about the signs that so many of us are dismissing but are genuinely linked to inflammation. We are going to talk about why at the root inflammation is always, always a message from your body. It's not just something that's happening. We're going to talk about ways to support your body if you are dealing with some chronic inflammation, different types of inflammation. We're just going to kind of cover it all as we always do. So
I'm excited though. I feel like for so long before we kind of got into the space and when I was young, like I would hear the word inflammation. I was like, what does that even mean? Like, what is inflamed?
Well, Jensen,
I feel like you might be telling us that.
Funny you should ask. What the heck even is inflammation? So I think the first important thing to kind of cover and talk about is that inflammation is not inherently bad, not at all. It's actually one of our body's most intelligent survival mechanisms. So when our body detects a threat, something normal, something acute, like a cut, an infection, a new toxin, like something it doesn't recognize, it's going to send in like your immune system, basically. Your immune system essentially is going to flood that area with things like blood, immune cells, signaling molecules that can fight, repair, and protect that area from like infection and start to like repair a wound. And sometimes this is something I like to do with Ellie. It's like when she gets a little cut, we talk about like, oh my gosh, like, thank you, body, for like stopping my bleeding and like starting to heal this and the scab that comes. And like, that's all because of inflammation. Inflammation is literally making that happen. So anything from like getting sick and your throat gets like hot and swollen, inflammation. You cut your finger, like I just said, it heals. That's inflammation. It's what we're going to kind of be diving deeper in today is where issues start to come up. And that is when that inflammation response can't shut off, never gets to shut off, doesn't have the ability to shut off. And that's more chronic inflammation. So this is low grade, ongoing, systemic. It's like your body's alarm system really gets stuck in that on position. So you don't like have a fever, you're not like fighting something dramatic. There's just this low hum constantly activating your immune system underneath the surface all of the time. So even just hearing me say that, like just take that in for a moment, like constant activation under the surface all of the time. That is going to take its toll on your body. And the main thing that I like to kind of tie this to is your nervous system, because your nervous system and your immune system are very deeply connected. So just like anything, chronically putting our nervous system in this prolonged state of stress, and that can sometimes be from things like emotional stress, physical stress from like maybe poor sleep, maybe from the food that you're eating, but your immune system can also experience chronic stress. So when it has to stay alert and activated, that is going to cause chronic inflammation. This episode of The Wellness Effect is brought to you by Lifestyle You. If you're listening to this podcast and thinking, okay, this sounds like me, whether it's low energy, hormone imbalances, stubborn symptoms, or you just feel like you've tried everything, Lifestyle You is our root cause coaching program designed to help you actually connect the dots.
We use functional nutrition, personalized support, and functional lab testing to figure out why your body is doing what it's doing, instead of just guessing or slapping a Band-Aid on symptoms.
And because you're a listener of The Wellness Effect, when you use the code Wellness Effect, you'll receive a free functional lab when you join the program. If this episode is resonating with you, make sure to share it with a friend, subscribe to the podcast, and check out the show notes to learn more about Lifestyle You and how to apply. So just to summarize,
Yes.
Chronic inflammation is essentially like a chronic immune response. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes, and our immune system and our nervous system like, you cannot activate your immune system without your nervous system being like, "Oh, our immune system senses a threat," and even vice versa, when your nervous system constantly experiences a threat, your immune system is gonna be like, "Oh, is this something that I need to be watching out for? Is it an immune stressor or what?" So
And when it's chronic, then we have that chronic inflammation, because usually it should just be an individual threat or virus or whatever that might be. We fight it with inflammation, it goes away. But when it's chronic, then it doesn't go away.
Yeah. And it sounds like it's a never-ending cycle, because and could be what came first for each individual person. I was super stressed, my nervous system was dysregulated, that causes chronic inflammation, or vice versa. You have gut dysbiosis, that causes chronic inflammation, which causes your body to go into state of fight or flight. So it's just like a never-ending beautiful cycle. And how do we get out of it?
Where do we go from here?
Well, guys. Or I think what you were meaning to ask was, how do you know the difference? How do you know if you're inflamed? Like, what the heck? So like, I think understanding that chronic inflammation piece is really important. And this, a lot of times we can tie this back to symptoms, because it doesn't always look like what you think it does. It's not always obvious. Like, honestly, me and I think you guys as practitioners can look at someone and be like, that is inflammation. Like, we can have calls with people and just looking at their face and hearing their story, we're like, yeah, we know what's going on. But just a few of the signs that we really see, I'm going to just read through all of them because I think it's important. And if any of these land for you, they're always multifactorial too. They're always multifaceted. They can be different causes, just like Lacey said, like what came first, the chicken or the egg. And like, if you have gut issues, you also are going to have inflammation. So they kind of all tie together. And I think that's kind of the point of like root cause healing and what we do here. It's like, there's no one cause of one symptom. That's not a thing. Like, yes, you might have already think you figured out what's causing your symptoms, but inflammation is likely a piece of the puzzle too. So some of the more obvious ones that we'll see is, of course, digestive issues, bloating, IBS, if you experience constipation and diarrhea that kind of alternate, or if you just feel inflamed, if you can feel like that heaviness after you eat like specific meals, that's a big sign. Then with skin stuff, we'll see eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, acne, even like the chronic redness or flushing of your face and skin, which I know is actually quite common. Those are all inflammation signs. And then I think some more even obvious ones like inflammation, joint pain, stiffness, just like aching in specific areas of your body. If it's always in the same spot, if it's always like your right wrist or your left hip, that's more likely inflammation. And then even if you're someone who always is getting sick, if you're always sick, you can't even quite recover, you still feel tired, and then you get the next thing, that is like those recurring infections are a big red flag. And then there are some sneakier ones that we really normalize, especially for women. So things like brain fog, like if you're thinking, I love to like talk about brain fog because I feel like it's so confusing. Like, what is that? If you've never experienced it, you're like, what does that even mean? But I read this and it just like lit me up. Like, thinking feels thick. Like, it's like you have to like struggle to find your words and to remember, like, literally, what was I just doing? Where was I just going? What is happening? So if you have that like sludgy feeling in your thoughts, that's brain fog. That is inflammation. Fatigue that sleep does not fix. So no matter how long you sleep for, no matter how good you sleep, you're still tired. Anything mood related, anxiety, especially if it feels physical in your body as well as mental. This was always something for me. Like, I wouldn't just feel anxiety like mentally, I would feel it physically. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yep.
And then like irritability, just like low grade depression, just, and that it's kind of just lingering there and you can't really feel like put your finger on why. It's like, hey, nothing's really going on externally, emotionally. Like, why am I feeling this way? So that can be just like that chronic inflammation. If you are puffy in your face, so especially in the morning, if your eyes are really swollen, like I remember waking up when I was younger and just being like, I look like a different human when I wake up and look in the mirror. Like, my eyes are so puffy. You know, when you can tell, you're like, did you just wake up just because their eyes are like puffy? Like, have you guys? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like
Thanks.
puffy eyes, fresh
Like
out of
puffy
bed.
eyes. Yeah. That's not normal. And then struggling with weight loss. I know we talked a lot about that in our functional fat loss episode. And then even like hanger and blood sugar swings, histamine issues. So like sneezing, runny nose, itchy eyes, reactions to random foods. These are all symptoms. So,
So basically every single symptom
yeah.
you can possibly
Well,
think
it
of.
is.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chronic
And
symptoms create chronic inflammation. So if you have
yes.
reoccurring symptoms, they are causing inflammation.
Yes.
Or caused by inflammation.
Yeah. And that's like the part about it that sucks is if you don't like when we have these small symptoms that we're like, oh, everyone's tired. Oh, everyone has puffy eyes when they wake up. Oh, if you just have one or two of those things and you're brushing them off and it is an inflammation issue, like that inflammation is not just going to go away. It's going to turn into something so much more serious down the road. And I think that's why it's so damaging and why it pisses me off so much to hear people like normalize symptoms because like you're a woman or you're a mom or you're getting older, like any of these reasons. Yeah, okay, sometimes that is kind of normal, but there is also always a deeper root that is going to snowball. It's literally going to cause more issues down the line. So that always just
It doesn't matter what phase of life you're in. If you constantly feel like crap, that is not normal. And if someone tries to tell you that it is, they're lying.
Yeah, they're lying. And you should punch them in the head.
Yeah.
Knock their teeth out.
But I do think it is interesting how like there is such a place for inflammation. I was listening to a podcast over the weekend and it was like just so eye-opening how inflammation, and she was talking about the correlation between inflammation and infertility. But she was saying, but inflammation at its root isn't a bad thing when it's functioning the way it should be. Inflammation is actually what helps us with ovulation. When we have that like LH surge, you don't want to be taking any Advil or anti-inflammatory drugs because you need that inflammation in order to release the egg. And so if we are, that's also why you don't want to be doing like cold plunges around that time, is because you want that inflammatory response when it's temporary, because that's what helps with that process. And so our body doesn't have these systems for just no reason. They're there.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing with cortisol. People think cortisol is horrible, has such a bad rap. Inflammation is the exact same, horrible rap. But when it's functioning the way it should, it's not a bad thing. It's actually very protective.
It's keeping us alive. Yeah, I love that you compare it to cortisol because it's literally the same thing. And even like I was going to say with implantation, like that's an inflammatory response, like the egg implanting into the uterus, all of these things. And I think for me in my journey, I like always hesitate to talk about this, but getting my COVID vaccine and then having my pregnancy after that be ectopic, they are literally just like, have you ever had any inflammatory issues in your like pelvis? And I'm just like, no. But that's like one of the side effects of that vaccine is just like inflammation, and ectopic pregnancies went way up. So it's like, how interesting.
Shout out to the
that?
vax. We've never
Shout
talked about
out.
that on this podcast, I don't think.
I've said a couple times that getting that vaccine was part of my fertility.
I think we could talk about that now. Everyone knows that they got. Anyone that listens to us, I think. No.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go down that road.
Anyways, back to inflammation.
Yeah. Sorry if that triggered anybody, whatever. And then, okay, yeah, this is what I was going to say. Like we have all those signs and symptoms, whatever. So that can be confusing and it can feel like, well, okay, of course, everyone listening to this podcast has maybe one of those signs. And then there are lab markers. So if you want to go like Western medicine or even like functional medicine, they're going to look at things like CRP, C-reactive protein, homocysteine, even like ferritin that's too high. This is like a signal of inflammation, or it will signal your body to be inflamed. So if you're someone who's struggled with your iron a lot, that could be something that you look into. And then the elevated white blood cell count. So if you are working in a functional medicine practice or with a naturopath, you can actually look at those lab markers. And then we'll talk a little bit more about what we see and what we kind of look at as far as markers go. Okay, and we're going to get a little deeper into why this happens. So this is kind of like what Jensen was touching on and why I find this topic so interesting, because when we can start to understand the root of inflammation, so much is going to make sense. So we're going to start with a few of the big causes, especially that we see and that we help our clients to support and that are really foundational. So even if it's like coming from somewhere else, supporting these things is going to help it in the long run. So number 1 is gut health, which I think is no surprise. Our gut is really ground zero for inflammation. We just talked a lot about the immune system, and we see like 80% of your immune system literally lives in your gut, in the GALT, the gut associated lymphoid tissue. So the state of your gut, what is going on in your gut, mirrors that immune system. And we know that the immune system and the nervous system are so connected. So this is why gut health is so important. This is why everyone's always talking about gut health. I feel like it had such a moment, and I want that moment to never end because it's so important. And we have that lining in our gut. I remember talking about this, I think, on our gut health episode, that's literally 1 cell thick. So when it's compromised, when we have leaky gut or intestinal permeability, particles that should not cross that little 1 cell barrier start to cross it. They leak through into your immune system, they leak through into your bloodstream. And these are particles of food that have not been properly digested. This is toxins from the environment that aren't meant to go through that
Barrier.
barrier. So anything from like shitty food that we're eating, pesticides, even if we're like trying something new or a food that we're maybe allergic to, letting that like move through the gut is a red flag for our immune system. So this is why leaky gut is such an issue, is because it's letting all these things, like we're supposed to put nutrients and minerals through our gut into our blood system or our bloodstream. But when we have all these things that shouldn't be in there, our immune system's going to freak out. It's like, okay, what is going on? Who's coming through? These shouldn't be going, like red flag, boom, boom, boom. This is, I would say, what most people, where the majority of that chronic low grade inflammation is coming from, is this exact thing.
Yeah, because if your body just has that like if you get those like random, I don't know, toxins or pesticides or whatever coming through, your body's going to get rid of it through our poop. Once again, our body can handle these situations. But when you have that leaky gut, now it's systemic all of a sudden. Like it's going through your entire body.
Yes. Yeah, it literally can move anywhere. It can move into your joints. It can move to your brain. It can move to your like thyroid and your adrenals and mess with your hormones. So, and what I don't think a lot of people realize is that our gut is very constantly being kind of attacked like this. So, stress, antibiotics, birth control, alcohol, processed food, low fiber intake, even things like NSAIDs, like the list just really goes on of like the things that are assaulting that beautiful barrier in our gut. So if you can just start doing things that really heal and seal that, go listen to our Gut Health 101 episode if you want to dive into that. But yeah, so gut health is a big one. So we love to utilize the GI map with our clients who are a little deeper into our program, and we will look for things. There's really obvious markers like calprotectin, which literally tells us about inflammation in the body, and then secretory IgA, which is an immunoglobulin that is telling us the state of our immune system. So is that chronically over functioning or under functioning? That is an immune marker. And then even less obvious ones on the GI map, just what is the state of your gut bacteria? There are certain, good bacteria in the gut that create and produce butyrate that help support inflammation. So if you're low in those, you're going to be low in the butyrate. You're going to have leaky gut. There are pathogens, parasites, yeast overgrowth. So there's just a ton of different markers on the GI map that can kind of give us this overall picture of just the inflammation at a gut level. And yes, that's inflammation. But then when your gut is inflamed, you're seeing chronic inflammation through the body. So it just like doubles everything, which is
it's never just
so
in
wild.
the gut.
Yeah. And then mineral depletion. So, of course, around here, we're really obsessed with minerals. And then I just want to talk about a couple that are so important when it comes to inflammation. Magnesium is probably the most important one. We know it's required for hundreds of enzymatic reactions in the body, including regulating that inflammatory response. So, when we are deficient in magnesium, which basically every single person that we see come through our program and test their minerals is, we have that depleted soil. We're just really stressed. Everything I just listed, like low fiber intake, under eating, birth control, all of those things are going to burn through a lot of magnesium, so that our body's just going to have a hard time resolving inflammation. It can get stuck in that activated state when it doesn't have the raw materials to like support inflammation. It's just like, I guess we're just stuck being inflamed because there's nothing we can do about it, even if our body wanted to, when it doesn't have those minerals. And then zinc is also really important. It's critical for immune function, tissue repair. So that's going to cause a lot more dysregulation. And then there is, of course, the mineral blood sugar connection. So minerals like chromium, magnesium, zinc, again, these are all involved in insulin signaling. When they're depleted, when we have constant blood sugar dysregulation, every single spike is an inflammatory like moment response in our body, and that is going to add up over time and cause and create that chronic inflammation.
I think with the minerals, it's really cool because you can actually see an exact, and we'll get to the gut health thing, I'm assuming as well, but you can see exact markers. Like I think for me, the biggest one I notice, yes, the low magnesium, but when someone comes to me and they're dealing with like the puffy face, the chronic infections, etc., and then they have that elevated zinc, or there's even that infection ratio that we have on the, which I think is copper to zinc.
Yeah, zinc to copper. But
we can also get some insight into what is going on. And once again, once you have that ratio, then a lot of the times when we do a GI map, a gut test, we often see that there's either signs of leaky gut or chronic infections like H. pylori, parasites, dysbiosis, whatever it might be. So minerals themselves are so cool, but it also gives us insight into like what's happening in the gut, which like Kira said, is the root of most people's chronic inflammation.
yeah. So then just a few like lifestyle pieces that we see that I think are really important, because not only are like struggling with things like your sleep. So let's go get into sleep a little bit. This is one of the most, if you are sleep deprived, it is one of the most acutely inflammatory things you can do to your body. So even one night of poor sleep can actually raise those markers. So of course, if it's chronic, it's going to keep your immune system in that heightened state of alert, which is going to make your sleep worse, which is going to make your inflammation worse. So this is something that I think is so easy to brush off as normal, having shitty sleep. And like, I'm not even going to try. I've always slept like crap. My mom sleeps like shit. Like my kids sleep like shit. It's like, you need to figure that out. Sleep is so important. And I guarantee you there's like 5 or 6 things that you can lock in when it comes to your sleep that are going to support it and are going to make a difference. It's just things people don't want to do. You don't want to put down your phone at the end of the day. You need your alone time to like scroll TikTok, or you absolutely need to reset your whole entire house or whatever it is. But like your body is struggling because of that. So I think just like focusing on your sleep for like 6 months and see what happens. I feel like that would just be such a game changer for so many people.
So wait, because you said sleep deprivation causes acute inflammation, and then obviously if you're chronically sleep deprived, so that would create like chronically acute inflammation, that's why it's so bad, because it's not the low grade chronic inflammation that's like, oh, you have leaky gut. It's like, this is acute, alarm bells are ringing.
Every night you're having this massive spike of immune.
And like, think about how amazing our body is, where we get a big cut and all of the inflammation people are like, I don't know, I always picture them as like little guys, like they go to that area. And so it's like, imagine they're doing that every single night when you're not sleeping. It's like waking up everybody and all the guys are at work. And then, okay, that makes sense. I didn't know.
Okay, I actually have a question.
Error.
With it being acute, like where are they going? Like, where are the inflammation guys going?
Well, it would just be all the things like you're not allowing time for recovery. You're not allowing time for that detoxification. You're not getting proper digestion and absorption that you're supposed to be doing overnight. So all of those things not happening properly in sleep are going to be what's causing the
right. So it's like different for everyone.
Said. Yeah. And every worker, all these different areas worker.
But it's not like one specific area, like the brain is where the inflammation, like the inflammatory response
but
is.
I imagine
the brain is big because that's when we drain, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But even just like muscle recovery, like, if like you don't get that, you're just, so that would be chronic inflammation. Like that would be another even area that it's coming in from. Like it's just wild.
Yeah.
So sleep would be number one. And I truly think that it's what I personally have seen. It's one of the areas that people will make the most excuses for. Yeah.
Well, and even not to cut you off, but like even like moms and like we're just like, oh, I'm older, I get 6 hours of sleep. It's like, no, like just because you're 50 doesn't mean you only need 6 hours of sleep. All of these studies, first of all, as we all know, have all been done on men, and that 7 to 8 hour sleep timeline is all based on men. Women should be getting 9 hours. So if you're constantly getting 6 hours of sleep and you have any symptoms, then we can almost always point it back to, well, why don't we just start getting more sleep? But like Kira said, it's sometimes you got to make some lifestyle changes to see improvements in there if you're just not someone that like naturally sleeps well.
Yeah, because I kind of have a question on that because I feel like it's hard for my body to stay asleep longer than 8 hours.
Me too.
Like I never wake up with an alarm, but I'm never sleeping 9 hours.
Oh, I'm like, I need 9.
You can zonk out. Yeah, like I think I average 7 to 8 and I don't wake up with an alarm and then I'm good to go.
But it's probably, that's what I kind of thought was going on with me, but it's more likely that you're waking up at the same time every day. And if you actually went to bed earlier, you'd probably get more sleep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because more circadian,
Interesting.
like, which makes sense. Okay, so I need to go to bed at like 8.
Honestly, though, like, can we just embrace, and it's summer and it's getting light longer and we do need less sleep when we are producing vitamin D, which is cool. But yeah, I just
Okay,
think,
that's another thought that we can bookmark because I was having that thought last night when I was standing out in my yard. And I was like, do I need to, when it gets summer and it's really light out all night, I'm like, do I need to be wearing my blue light blocking glasses outside if I go outside at like 9 o'clock when I'm trying to go to bed? But it's a rabbit hole, so we don't need to get into it.
yeah, maybe we'll have to do a summer circadian rhythm episode.
Yeah.
But I'll just add a couple more habits quickly and then we can kind of keep rolling. But again, blood sugar, I want to just really, really, really highlight this. The roller coaster that our body experiences from spikes and crashes, from like eating those naked carbs, skipping meals, not moving our bodies. This is a direct driver of inflammation. Every single time our blood sugar spikes, it triggers an inflammatory response in our bodies. And for a lot of the women that we work with, it's almost constant. Like every single day, they're waking up, they're skipping breakfast, they're having a coffee, they're having like a muffin, and then they're like doing a workout, and then maybe they eat like a salad with some protein at lunch. And it's like your blood sugar really never recovers through the whole entire day when you're eating and living like that. So just like taking that into account, that can really lower a lot of the inflammation. And then toxic load. So what you're putting on your skin, what you're cleaning your house with, what you are eating, kind of like what I talked about before, when we are ingesting things like pesticides or we're putting like phthalates on our skin, your liver has to work hard to process all of that, right? Same with your gut. And so when any system in the body gets overburdened, who has to show up? The workers, the worker guys. The little inflammation worker guys are going to have to run there and support and help out. And it's not a bad thing, right? Like if your liver is overburdened and you don't want it to just curl up and die. So we have that inflammatory process to protect it and to support it. But that doesn't mean that it's easy on your body and that there aren't any like kind of consequences. And then I want to go a little bit more into nervous system. And I like to get a little woo-woo for a second because this is such a missing piece that, and even I was just thinking about this today with our episode that came out today, which was the
identity shift.
Identity shifts. It's like, because our nervous system and our immune system are not separate, they're talking to each other constantly, right? So we have that vagus nerve, the longest nerve in our entire body, running from your brain through your gut. It's the highway, your brain and your immune system. It connects everything. And when we have that chronic sympathetic activation, when we're always in fight or flight, because if there is inflammation in your body, it's a fight or flight trigger, right? So if it's constant, you're putting yourself into that sympathetic state all the time. That's going to just upregulate inflammation in general because it's a defense mechanism, right? So if you're stressed out about work, if you're stressed out about money, if you're stressed out about even just how your body looks, that is literally going to upregulate inflammation, right? Does that make sense?
And then it's a cycle again because then we have that chronic inflammation and that's putting us into fight or flight and it's hard to get out of, but it starts with your mind.
Yeah. Yes. So things like breath work, just regulating your nervous system. And then like I was kind of mentioning that the episode where we talked about the identity shifts, if you're constantly butting up against who you think you should be and how you think you should act and what you're doing wrong, that's literally triggering inflammation in your body. So stop doing that.
Yeah. And listen to that episode.
Listen to that episode because I'm pretty sure it's good.
I don't know. Came out today. We'll keep you guys posted.
Yet. Okay, I have just kind of like how to support, unless you guys want to.
I think the only other piece, and I'm sure you'll go over it in how to support, is just like the lymphatic drainage component of it, and how when that's what moves around those like immune and those inflammatory responses. So we have those cytokines when we're fighting off an infection. And if our lymphatic system is functioning optimally, then it will move those and push them throughout our body where it needs to be to essentially like detoxify them. But if our lymphatic system and our lymphatic fluid is sludge and sticky and not moving how it should be, then those inflammatory cytokines that if they are temporary, the worker guys are there, then they're just going to be stuck in that one spot rather than moving and being properly detoxified, right?
Well, and that's exactly why we get those like stagnant hot pieces in our throat when we're sick. Like that's literally what's happening. So it's, yeah. And I think the cool part about that is like even sometimes people will get like hung up on like lymphatic. That's just a big word. It sounds scary. I don't know what it means. And it's literally why we talk about the foundations so much and so constantly, because guess what is going to be the best thing if you do nothing else for your lymphatic system besides walk and maybe work out a few times a week and eat really well and get enough sleep and get enough water. Those are all supporting your lymphatic system from every single level. And yes, there's all these cool ways we can double down, which we do need to in the time that we're living because of the toxin fucking onslaught that we are constantly getting every single day. But if you just take it back to the foundations, like those are going to help too, which I think is super
and then listen
cool.
to the lymphatic episode.
Listen to Jensen's lymphatic episode because that was amazing. So yeah, foundations are always first. Start with one thing at a time and just like build on it. And then just to kind of go through some of the supports that we will use for our clients. So when we're looking at gut health, we want to eat to support that microbiome. Get enough fiber. I think like tracking your food with a tracker like Chronometer or something like that is so underrated. I've been talking about it so much lately. You can see what kind of fiber you're eating. You can see the diversity of your micronutrients, like add in some fermented foods, like sauerkraut and kimchi. And like that is such good data that you can get to see literally what you're lacking. I don't know if it's always free or like, but it's so cheap. Like there's no reason that you can't be doing that. And then if you do feel like there is some inflammation really stemming from your gut, you can kind of remove some of the more obvious irritants. So this is things like processed food, alcohol, gluten is a really common one that we will see that we sometimes have to, temporarily remove with our clients just to like calm that inflammation down so that you can support the healing of that gut barrier. And we can do that with things like L-glutamine, collagen, bone broth is really great. These can all really support that gut lining. Aloe vera juice is awesome just to like seal everything up again. But again, you want to make sure that inflammation is brought down. So that's why you want to be eating mostly whole foods, avoiding the processed things and alcohol. And then you can actually seal it without the chronic inflammation alarm bell like going off the whole entire time. And then we know that stress is really a huge piece of leaky gut and you just cannot like
get away from that.
Get away from it. Yeah, you can't like out supplement or out freaking bone broth a fried nervous system. So you need to take that seriously. You need to be doing what works for you. I think this is so different for everybody, but probably like the same basic shit at the end of the day. And like go put your legs up the wall for 5 minutes. Like it's not hard. You can do that, right?
Right.
Kira, I don't have time to put my legs up on the wall. Just kidding.
Then what are you doing listening to this podcast right now?
Let me see your scroll time. That's what you always have to say. Let me see your screen time from your phone.
Literally.
I don't know. It's like, is the best way to go about it for me to like bully people into, or is it like, hey man, you're doing a really good job?
I know.
I think people need different things, so it's good to spice it up.
Okay. That's fun. I feel like I just sometimes on here, I'm like, okay, figure it out, okay? Like, you can do one thing a
Well,
day.
a lot of
And
this
then
is
I'm
like part of being an
helps me.
adult. So I feel like,
Right. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, it's just like basic human needs. It's
Okay.
fine.
And then mineral support, honestly, like, of course, an HTMA is literally one of the best things. I feel like if I could give a gift to the whole world, it would be an HTMA for everybody. And we do these in our one-on-one coaching program, the Root Cause Reset. So you guys can sign up. I think we give away the HTMA for free if you use the link from our podcast. So that's really cool to sign up for the program. Magnesium, again, most people can just take a magnesium supplement. Of course, this is not medical advice, but glycinate is the most common, calming, most bioavailable. Zinc is great. You can take this, like food-based zinc is really the best. So just like eat 1 can of oysters once a week. I know they're not good, but
Okay, but like oysters, like when you go like
I love them.
to
personally.
Rodney's, like oysters are good, but then I see you posting those like canned oysters and they look a lot scarier than the ones that I'm.
I think
Oh,
like,
those
I
aren't
put-
sardines?
No, I'm trying with sardines. I have 4 boxes in my pantry,
4
and every time I look
boxes?
at them, like 4 like jar like
Oh.
cans. Every time I look at them, I'm like, I can't.
I saw a
So, I
girl
get it.
eating them and she like cuts off the head, obviously, and then like mashes it up and then puts like garlic powder, onion powder, like,
Okay.
and
They're
puts it
so
on a
good for you.
cracker.
Well,
So
good for
gross.
her.
I know,
Good for
I don't think I can. I can't even like even when you post those oysters, I'm just like, ew, that looks so fucking
Oh, I
bad.
love them though. I do like this really old cheddar and then like a pickled jalapeno and
Oh,
like
that sounds
some
good.
yummy hot sauce on a cracker, on those almond crackers.
Just something about them being in a can. I don't know what it is because I do like oysters, so I just need
And
to
they're
try
like
them.
smoked. Like they're so good.
Hmm.
So good. And they're, yeah. And then again, just a great way to support your minerals if you don't know what your levels are is to just eat more whole foods. So again, this comes back to the foundations. Put some trace minerals in your water, eat as much whole foods as you can. You know, we're talking leafy greens, nuts and seeds, fruits and veggies, quality animal proteins.
Aim for
Easy
more
peasy.
colors.
Get more colors, like enjoy your food. I don't know.
And if you're someone that like likes a smoothie, just try to like put more secret stuff in there. You know what I mean? There's so many easy
Yeah.
ways to do it.
Bee
Especially in the
pollen.
summer. I find it so much
Mhm.
easier.
I'm so excited for summer.
Salads and smoothies and
Oh, yes.
fruit.
Barbecue.
I think a lot of the reasons why a lot of women struggle to lose fat in today's world, especially those who feel like they're doing everything right, is because you're doing everything right when your body isn't riddled with chronic inflammation in order to lose fat. But when you are riddled with chronic inflammation, doing everything right is not going to work because, like we've mentioned, the chronic inflammation, it changes how your metabolism, your hormones, and your nervous system work. And so if you skip that step, fat loss does often become slower, harder, and just less sustainable. And so I think it's just important to kind of like focus on these things first and lower that inflammation, which it usually does give you that quick win too, because inflammation does and can drop much quicker than body fat. And so it's just important to really take a step back and like look at, am I having all of these symptoms? Do I feel puffy and inflamed? Okay, I need to focus on X, Y, and Z before I eat less food and crank up the cardio. And that's for any healing goal, whether your goal is to lose weight or if your goal is to have better skin or get pregnant or recover or whatever it is. Like you need to be doing these things before you kind of get there. So I think that's
and I think with all other symptoms, that's almost like the way to do it. It's like, well, you have skin issues because you have inflammation, so we'll fix that. But I think when people get confused with fat loss is because there is a different recipe for strictly fat loss. And so
it's a recipe that we know. Like not everyone knows the recipe for acne or
but we all think we know, like, oh, fat loss is just eating less and moving more. It's like, why isn't that working?
And it's like, well, why is everyone doing that? And it doesn't work. But anyways.
Okay. And then just some key nutrition pieces. Like I said, food, nutrition, this is a foundation of wellness. So we can actually use some inflammatory foods to support our body. So things like omega-3s, you can do this in supplement form. This is one that I personally really like to take. But then like fatty fish, sardines, like we just talked about, a really good quality fish oil, just making sure you get a good one, I think is really important. And then like we talked about, colorful vegetables. So we're going to see in there polyphenols and antioxidants. These literally help our body resolve inflammation. Like how cool. And even to think about it, like just to go learn, look up what's one food that supports that's high in antioxidants. Like bell peppers are one of my favorites. And for me, I find like food, I just think in my head, like, oh, this is good. I like peppers. They're crunchy. They like go in a lot of things. But to actually take a step back and think like this food that I'm eating literally lowers inflammation in my body or supports my body in having a normal inflammatory response. That is so powerful and so amazing. And when you can have that gratitude and reverence for your food as you're eating it and just be like, can you do a little extra for me here and there? Like it doesn't hurt to ask. And then reducing seed oils. Hot take. Canola, soybean, vegetable oil. These are high in omega-6 and pro-inflammatory at the quantities that most people are consuming them. So just cut them down a little bit. I still eat, every single one of us on this podcast still has seed oils sometimes. Go out to a restaurant, like it's not a big deal. You go to your in-laws and they make homemade fish and chips. Like it's fine, but when it's constant, it is going to.
And you're cooking with it, and it's in all of the foods that you're eating. And just by eating more single food ingredients, that is going to go down so much. So just eat more whole foods.
Yes.
And don't have canola oil in your house. Just like get rid of it.
I know. Don't cook with it. Like stop.
Yeah.
I know. Brett always buys it because he makes chicken burgers, like homemade, deep fried, like buttermilk. Fuck it. They're so
Oh my God,
good.
that sounds so good.
They're so good. And he uses canola oil. I'm just like, can we please just use like avocado oil or something? But it's like 8 times the price and you have to use a lot even though you don't like use a lot. So
But even that, you guys aren't even doing that weekly. You know what I mean?
No.
Like that's not going to kill you. And that's what we're talking about is like you want to reduce it, especially those things that we're having on a daily basis. And it's not like you buy the canola oil for the chicken burgers and then you're having it with your eggs and every other thing throughout the day. So obviously none is best, but
yeah,
cutting out is also great.
Yeah. And this is like making sauces at home. Like this was, I think, what honestly got me into loving nutrition was like making my own sauces. When I like first did my first ever stint with Lifestyle U, I was like, oh, I'm going to make my own homemade chipotle mayo and like homemade this and homemade that. And you can just use like some avocado oil and some Greek yogurt and make all these delicious like sauces and dips. And you can just take the canola oil out of your life, but also you're just increasing so many more of the antioxidants and helpful things when you're making it at home with like fresh herbs and yummy stuff like that. So yeah. And then, like I said, herbs and spices. So turmeric, ginger, rosemary, oregano, these are super powerful for inflammation. Like I think we all know about turmeric. Make yourself a little turmeric latte or just like sprinkle it on anytime you're cooking anything. You can't even really taste it. Honestly, I find it very mild, but you can get turmeric tea. You can get turmeric capsules, turmeric liquid, but it's like a known tried and true one that we all love.
I love the taste of it.
Yeah, it's so good. Okay, and then of course, like we talked a lot about sleep, so I won't get too much into that, but just protecting that sleep window, maybe going to bed a little bit earlier, getting that morning light, reducing the blue light at night, even just those 3 things, commit to that for like a month commit to that for the rest of your life and you'll be fine. And then of course, regulating your nervous system. We really want to start incorporating these things into our day. Not just like, oh, when you feel stressed, you go put your legs up the wall. It's like, no, that's part of your morning routine. That's what you do, when you're watching TV or with your kids, when you're getting them ready for school or when you're getting them ready for bed. You're saying, what nervous system tool do we want to use right now? And it's that bank account, right? That nervous system bank account, that nervous system garden. You need to be tending to it constantly to have that like harvest at the end of the day. Anything else to add? I'm done, basically.
No, I feel like that's great. And you saying that thing about the kids, I think I have a story to share. And then I also want to ask you a question, which I think would be good. But I was working with this girl and she was so cool. And her little girl had, I want to say it was colitis, so autoimmune. And anyways, they were able to like reverse it, but she homeschools her children, and I think she's 7. And it's just so interesting because she like teaches them about like all the stuff that she's been doing. And she basically signed up the program for her daughter, just like knowing what she can do in her life to support her children. And we had a call the other day, and I guess she was like tucking her little girl in, and she's like, okay, you got to go to bed. Like I have a call with the nutritionist. And I guess her little girl went, okay, get her to give us a list of the good stuff. And isn't that so cute? And I guess her mom was like, the good stuff. And she's like, yeah, like get a list of the good stuff. Like what can I have to like add more in? And it's like, that's a prime, isn't that so cute? When she said that, it literally gave me chills. And that's a prime example of just like showing how your kids are reflections of you and how they're going to do what you're doing, not what you tell them to do. But anyways, Kira, because I was going to ask you about this off the podcast, but what are some things that people can do for their children for inflammation, nervous system, aside from doing all the things their own?
Quickly just touch on what you just said, because like look at how cool with that young girl, without having any conditioning on wellness being hard and wellness being adding so much to my plate and taking so much time, and it's so hard and I have to add all this stuff in and I don't have time. Look how excited she is to like give me more to add in. She's not worried about that her mom's that she probably hasn't had gluten in however long if she's got colitis. She's like, what can I do to support my body? And I just think
gives me chills.
Like for that to be your legacy with that client, Jensen, is so fucking cool.
Well, and it's just so much different. Like you said, that's such a good point. Whereas like if you're constantly around your kids, like, oh, I have to like eat this like healthy food. Oh, we have to cut this out. Like they're going to pick up on that. They're going to pick up that making changes in their life is a huge nuisance and not something that's normal. Whereas if you just do the things and you're excited about the things, they're going to pick up on that. Apparently she's like, because her mom drinks like dandelion root tea all the time, and she's trying to like love dandelion root tea. She's like, I don't think I like it too much, but tries drinking it every single night. I know.
The kid?
Yes. It's so sweet.
Cute.
I know.
Love that. But I think it also just goes to show like kids are exactly the same as us. That's another thing that I've been getting a lot of hate on that clip about me talking about what your kids should be eating. But it shouldn't be a separate thing.
No.
And it's like what you can do with your kid for inflammation is everything Kira just said on the podcast. Like, it's the same.
You got to give them more credit. Like,
and now like it's so funny because the first thing that came to mind, like I have a big red light panel, which is actually incredible for inflammation, like cellular inflammation. And Ellie will like, kids are always trying to stall their bedtime. Like they don't want to go to bed. They're like, oh, my snack. Oh, I got to pee. Oh, I need to drink water. And Ellie will be like, Mom, do you want to do red light and legs up the wall? And I'm like, yes, fine. So then she can add like another 10 minutes because she just like goes and turns on my red light and puts her legs up the wall. And I'm just like, if I do nothing else in this life, I've made it.
Yeah. And just trying to figure out what they like to do. And they'll
she like entertain, like does she talk or anything during the 10 minutes?
Well, she can't do it for 10 minutes. She can do it for like
that's kind of impressive.
2 or 3.
I can't picture her just sitting there silent for 10 minutes, like legs up the wall, but
no, never. But that's what, like, I was just writing up a big post about like our sleep environment in our house and how because like I got Ellie red light, like blue light blocking glasses, because we always watch a movie every Friday night. And it's only recently been light out when we're watching it. It's usually dark because of the winter. And most of the time we look over at her and she's like looking over her glasses and like at the screen. We're like, Ellie, like put your glasses on. But so much of it is just about modeling to your children, just like what we just said. Like we're doing this because it helps our sleep. And then she's 4 years old. She cannot conceptualize that, but she sees people caring about their sleep in her environment and making sleep a priority. And that's what kids are picking up on. They're not picking up on like, put your red light glasses on, put your red light glasses on, drink your dandelion tea.
Meanwhile, you're like, never have your red light glasses on and don't
they're picking up on like, this is a house where we value health. And like, that's all you can do is just kind of model that and show that. And I'm sure like when they're teenagers, like, am I going to be able to get her to wear red light glasses? Like, probably not. But when it's like a core value of who you are, it just like they can't escape it and it becomes a core value of who they are as well. And I just think that's like, that's it.
Yeah, when they're teenagers, they're going to be talking to their friends like, yeah, my mom's freaking crazy.
But honestly, like
that's
who knows? I
fine.
feel like these next generations are just like miles ahead.
I don't know.
They're probably going to.
I think we're in a bubble.
We are. And honestly, I like this generation of kids, like they're coming out with these studies now that like glyphosate and how they've sprayed it on things for years and years and years, it didn't actually impact. It has more of an impact 3 generations later than it did like when it first started. So our children are going to be the ones, they're probably going to be like some of the sickest kids that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
They just have
They test like the umbilical cord, and by the time of birth in the umbilical cord, there's usually like 400 different chemicals present.
microplastics and like it's just
Microplastics, and like it's so obvious, but they build up in your cervix. Isn't that absolutely
diabolical?
It's just like diabolical.
Is the word
It's
you're
actually
for.
fucked up. And if anyone tries to say, oh, it doesn't matter, like think about how there is microplastics in your cervix and how we are confused about fertility.
I know.
Just like,
no, it's crazy. Well, and I post that post like 7 times. So if you haven't already seen it, but that's an actual thing that you eat like a credit card of plastic a week. And I'm like, and my content guy made me order like 52 fake credit cards off Amazon so I could show the visualization of how much plastic that we're consuming in a year. It's fucking bonkers. And people are just like, I don't get it. But I feel like because it's not an instant, oh, I ate from my plastic container and now I feel like I just ate plastic, right? There's no like correlation, causation when it comes to things like that. So I feel like people have a harder time actually conceptualizing that it's a real thing.
Well, no, they have an easier time pretending it's not. That's what I think it is.
Boom.
Well, and they're just
But
like, I just want to live my life and not care about it. It's like, okay, well then live a short life and not care about it. I don't want to do that. I don't know. Sorry.
Well, and there's always that balance of like stressing over it is worse, right? 100%. But it's once you just remove the plastic from your household, you're not really fucking stressed about it. And it literally is like one decision that you have to make of buying new containers or swapping out your cutting boards. And then it's not stressful. It's not like we're going to restaurants and like asking for a tour of the kitchen to see if they have microplastics. Like, no, we don't care when we're there. But yeah.
Those people think we're just like running around our house, like throwing out all the plastics, like freaking out at all times. It's like, no, first of all, it's taken a long time to make all these swaps. I didn't do it overnight. You can, if you have the financial means to do so, but it's like, it's been a slow transition for me. And it's not like it's like constantly on my mind and my heart's racing all the time. And if you are that person and you're stressed about it, then yes, that is worse for you. But it doesn't need to be this. It just comes down to that all or nothing. Like people can't be okay with being in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and I hear it in my comment sections because, man, if I'm ever wearing Lululemons or people see my fingers with nail polish on them, or, well, I think that's it. And I get accused of Botox all the time. But it's like, they're in, and I'm just like, just make a swap. I didn't say everything in my life has no talk. Like, yeah, it's just funny.
It's low tox Lacey, not no tox Lacey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that like our generation of kids, even just looking at my own 2 kids, like as someone, I mean, I haven't been like a health conscious person my whole entire life, but most of like I did a lot of preconception work and even like since Ellie was born, and we're having struggles with them. Like Jake has eczema, Ellie's minerals are a fucking shit show. I mean, they're not a shit show, but they're bad. So it's like people are going to need to get more serious about this with kids in the coming years. I think we are going to see a massive explosion of younger people having these issues, having skin issues, having like gut issues, constipation, having like behavioral struggles, focus struggles. Like I think it's just going to explode. And honestly, part of me is, I'm not happy about it. It sucks, but like I could always kind of like brush off my own shit. Like whatever, like if I'm a little constipated, like it just sucks. But when it's your kid, you're like, holy fuck, what do I do? What happened? it's the worst feeling in the world. Like when Jake got that eczema, I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? And like, you can't just skate by and pretend that it doesn't matter and pretend that it's not impacting them, because it's literally your choices are setting them up for hopefully living a long life, having kids if they want to have kids. Like, it's in what you do. So I just think that we're going to be seeing in the next while.
Well, and even to what you're saying, like, I think if your kid has these things, it doesn't need to be like, I'm the fucking worst. I did all this to them. Like, I'm horrible. It's like, okay, once again, the same thing we look at it with our bodies is this is a sign. Something's up here. What are we going to do? And we can't ignore it.
Yes, it's so much harder to ignore when it's your kid, because you're just like, and it's also like a little bit easier because you don't feel like you're the one that has to make the changes. You're like, well, you got to be gluten-free.
Yeah.
Like, sucks for you. But it's like a little Tamagotchi that you're like, got to keep alive. But
it's interesting because what generation is the first generation that was exposed to like all of these like hyper-processed foods?
I think millennials have had the longest, because it was kind of on the edge of the baby boomers, but they didn't grow up with it, right? So it's like,
they were meat and potatoes more a little bit.
Yeah. So and I think probably even the next generation after millennials, whatever that is, Gen X or Gen Z, they probably had it. Because I'm like, even our first 10, 15 years, it wasn't like everything is freaking plastic and everything is full of chemicals and blah, 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 right? Like, I feel like, so they probably had it from the very, very beginning. And then what?
No, I was like, me.
Oh, I was like, oh shit. Yeah. So I feel like the next generation probably had it for their whole duration.
Yeah. And then it's going to be so interesting how that shows up.
Because
in our children.
Having your parents have their whole entire lives filled with toxins, and then you're just born into it. It's like,
Good times.
Guys, there's tons of stuff we can do about it. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay, wait, can I tell a quick story? Because I've been wanting to tell it on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like, it's kind of about this. It's just about kind of more what we're talking about. So I'm reading this book right now. It's called The Magnificent Lives of Marjorie Post. Okay. And it's about the family that started Post cereal. I think like maybe early or like 1920s. And it's just talking about her like magnificent life, because she's like obviously so loaded. But it's so interesting how the company started to begin with. So I'm going to tell a quick story. So basically and it's a...
I know this story.
Yeah, it's like historical fiction, but it's based on true events. It's such a good book. I really recommend everyone reading it. I've like been locked in the whole time. But anyways, so what happened is this Post family, the dad was really, really sick. The creator of Post cereal was really, really sick. So they went to, I want to say it's something Battle Creek. I always want to say Bragg Creek, but that's in Alberta. They went to Battle Creek in like, I don't know, we'll call it Michigan. And because there was this doctor there, Dr. Kellogg. And Dr. Kellogg had this like insane like medical institution where he was really, really like helped people cure themselves. And one of the things that he would give them is this like cereal, essentially was what it was. It wasn't called cereal at the time, but it was like basically just like wheat. And he was really, really big on like no meat, vegan diet, all of this stuff. And so, and I don't know if this is the exact story, but this is how it's like portrayed in the book. But the Post family was living with this other family that essentially like takes people in that was going to the Kellogg institution at the time. And basically what happened was the mom there was like, okay, well, at the family they were staying with was like, I really don't think you should be eating all vegan. Like, you need to eat home cooked meals. And this mom would like, at the family, that the house they were staying at, would finally got him to eat more like whole foods and like home cooked meals. These like amazing, like they would describe it like it smelled so good. And then the man started feeling better, but he associated feeling better with this freaking cereal that he was eating at the Kellogg institution. Anyways, he decides he wants to create a company of these like easy to make cereals so that like moms don't have to be slaving away in the kitchen at all times. And so he creates Post cereal, and it goes fucking nuts. As we all know, look up Post cereal, you're going to know all the cereals. But then the Kellogg cereal, like Dr. Kellogg was like, well, you took my freaking idea. I'm going to do the same thing. So both of these like international cereal companies that were started in the early like 1900s started in Battle Creek, which is so interesting. And then the daughter, after the dad CW post died was like, well, I think we can create frozen foods. Like, this is going to be amazing. Like, people are going to be able to like have foods for so much longer, and we can create frozen meals. And then she created General Foods, which is,
Whoa.
isn't that so fucking
And then
interesting?
it was all downhill from there.
I know. And it's so interesting because it started off with like, they're trying to make everyone healthier and like create more time. And it started off with such good intentions. And then it was like cereal that's literally killing us. But
Yeah. Well, it's convenience. Like that's what's really like exploded over the last 30 years is just making everything super, super convenient, which then you have to add things so it stays good in the freezer, and you have to add things so it stays longer on the shelf. And
yeah. And they talk about like, it was like the perfect timing because it was before both of the world wars. And of course, during that time, like that's a time when you truly need like easy to access like foods. So it's just, it's such a good book. You guys need to read it. You would love it.
I will.
even though you just ruined the whole story.
Yeah.
No, that's it. Honestly, I knew that stuff going into it. It's like a 4-part book. It talks about her life and like
cool. I am gonna read it.
So cool.
Yeah, me too.
Cool.
Add it to my list. Okay,
anyways,
well, I think that's pretty much it.
Thanks, Kira. Good job.
Thanks.
That's it.
Thanks.
You guys know the drill, okay? But no, for real, it really helps us like so much if you like the podcast, and even if you just share it or any little thing that you're like, you know what, I've got a lot from you girls over the years, and I would love to just leave you a review or subscribe or go subscribe on YouTube, even if you never go on YouTube. It really does help us, and I don't think we talk about that enough. So anything you can do, share this with your friends, share this with your... Download it. We need you to download it too. And we would just really appreciate that. And we'll keep doing it. We'll keep giving you guys all this incredible free information if you just do that
for us.
And yeah, we hope you have a great day. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to The Wellness Effect. We're so grateful to be part of your wellness journey. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on Instagram. We'll put all of our handles in the show notes. If you have questions or ideas, slide into our DMs or send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep creating your own wellness effect.